Hello and welcome to The Road to the Batman. What do you want to watch is look back at the Dark Knight's standalone film history ahead of his next big screen iteration. I'm Ashley Hobley, joining me today, Dylan Blight.
I'm Batman.
Alright. So we're doing a rewatch of all these Batman films. I'll just say straight out of the gate, first episode, we're not rewatching Batman v Superman, Dawn of Justice. Because we've already done an episode of that, which you can find in the show notes, or you can look through the What Do You Want to Watch feed. But yeah, we'll be watching the Tim Burton films, Joel Schumacher films, of course the Christopher Nolan films ahead of the release of Matt Reeves' iteration of Batman this March. So Dylan, Batman. How do you feel about Batman? Batman.
How do I feel about Batman? What?
Yeah.
I don't know, I really like Batman. Batman's my favorite superhero. I've watched all the films, obviously. 89, the one we're about to talk about, is the first Batman movie I ever watched. I don't know how old I was young. I've watched everything. I own the box set of the 69 series, Adam West and everything.
Nice.
You know, I own that movie. So I'll watch anything. I've got a Batman plethora of, I like all versions of Batman, nearly all. We'll get to you, Joel Schumacher. Yeah. So Batman's my favorite superhero. DC Comics is more where I prefer, I guess, than Marvel stories usually. And I like all the animated stuff. I actually think the best Batman movie is potentially animated, but that's a hot take. Maybe not a hot take.
Interesting.
I'm talking about The Dark Knight Returns. Part 1, Part 2.
That's fair. That's a good... one day we'll do a Batman animated movie podcast at some point. But yeah, Batman, obviously like a seminal part. I feel like Batman is like a seminal part of everybody's life at this point. Like, Batman is probably the number one superhero in the world. I mean,
maybe not anymore.
Well, not this week. Not this month. Spider-Man's definitely taken that crown, but once that movie hits, I think
we shall see. It'll be interesting.
You'll be going Tom who?
I mean, we haven't had a solo Batman movie since the Nolans, so
yeah, which is kind of crazy.
Yeah.
So yeah. All right, let's jump into this week's film, Batman. Just straight up Batman. The thing I do appreciate about all these films is none of them are called the same title.
Thing.
Yep. Not like all these other films nowadays.
Even though it's only called Batman, if I'm around anyone, it's so ingrained in my head now that I always just go Batman 89. Just because, for whatever reason, I feel like that's just become the accepted way of talking
yourself
about.
Because they'll eventually just call another movie Batman.
Yeah, I guess so, yeah. But almost like just Batman 89, and then Batman 89, Batman Begins, Batman 89, Batman Returns. But yeah, for whatever reason, it's just Batman 89, in case people were confused about which one I'm talking about.
Yes, so please beware of really discussing anything and everything about plot themes in any of the films. If you haven't watched it, come back later. So let's jump into our discussion of Batman.
This is Commissioner Gordon. I want him taken alive. I repeat, any man who opens fire on Jack Napier will answer to me.
I heard the Bat got him.
The Bat? Oh, man, give me a break, will you?
5 stories straight down.
Hey, shut up, man. Listen to me. There ain't no Bat.
Hi. Bruce Wayne.
Are you sure?
I want you to do me a favor. I want you to tell all your friends about me.
What are you?
I'm Batman.
Every punk in this town is scared stiff. You know what they say? They say he can't be killed. They say he drinks blood.
Terrorizes. Wait till they get a load of me.
Jack.
Jack is dead, my friend. You can call me Joker.
Released 1989, directed by Tim Burton, screenplay by Sam Hamm and Warren Skaaren, story by Sam Hamm, based on characters appearing in magazines published by DC Comics. Batman by Bob Kane with Bill Finger, starring Jack Nicholson, Michael Keaton, Kim Basinger, Robert Wuhl, Pat Hingle, Billy D. Williams, Michael Gough, and Jack Palance. Batman, a masked vigilante from Gotham City, fights against evil to keep its citizens safe. He must battle Jake Napier, who turns into the Joker and threatens to take over Gotham City. Dylan, what do you think of Batman?
Good shit. Anyone who says this movie ages badly doesn't have a taste in cinema. Don't tell me you're about to say that this movie ages badly. I always find it weird because you see like criticisms. It's like, oh, Tim Burton ones, they're campy. I'm like, I can show you campy if you want. I'll put on the TV series. Like, if you want to see like campy Batman, like this is obviously a bit more campy or comic book ish than the Nolan stuff or more recent iterations. But I really don't feel like it's as campy as everyone like makes it out to be. When we get to the Schumacher stuff and you have bat nipples and stuff, sure, we can talk about that. But as far as this goes, the jokes really are far and thin. A lot of the sort of silliness comes from the fact the suit is just so limiting, so that just leads to some rather weird looking scenarios and poses and just actions, and Batman is just can't move and fight fast or anything, and that's just a limitation of the suit from back in the day, and this continues to be a trend for the next several movies, so I don't feel like that's too big of a thing. But one thing I really like about this, and we'll talk about it when we talk about Batman Returns more so, is that it actually feels, I really love how it's just Tim Burton doing Batman, and Returns is even more so because he gets a little bit more free reign, but from the second the movie opens, like you hear the nightlife, you see the look of the city. It's like, it's not just, oh, we filmed New York and called it Gotham, or like it's not. Quite often it just feels like, oh, we filmed a city and we're just saying it's this fictional city or whatever. Like, oh, we filmed this other place and we're just calling it Metropolis or whatever. Even in the most recent iteration, where they're talking about Gotham City across the bay or whatever else. It never felt as nitty gritty or as like crime life filled as they always do. Like, oh, the crime in Gotham. Like, well, they never really showed it to you. They just told you that there was all this crime and shit. Whereas, at least in this one, you see from the second the film starts, you get that sort of vibe, and it still has that 80s vibe or whatever. But there's definitely I feel like these films get a real character to Gotham. Like Gotham feels like a true city, like a vibrant city. I mean, even those big wide shots with the like hand painted, backgrounds and stuff, where it almost looks like a Gothic castle and stuff like that. And Wayne Manor is often painted as this sort of crazy looking building on the edge of the city, always right on the edge of Gotham whenever you see it. I love all that. So as far as like artistic vision goes, I think this film, like it's just Tim Burton in his best years. Is Batman's a part of Burton's best years. Remember when I went and watched went and saw the Tim Burton exhibition when that came through Australia, like, I don't know, years and years ago. But going through that, you got to see a bunch of the Batman, like, proper props and stuff there as part of the Tim Burton exhibition, which was really cool as well. But Jack Nicholson Joker, it's not the Joker that everyone knows or loves, but it's really, really good. It's fun. It's exciting. They give the character a full backstory. One thing that Burton does in both his Batman films is he gives as much, if not more, time to the villains as he does Batman, and that's something that obviously changes.
I don't think it ever
Schumacher, but Nolan films, I'd say, some of them get a little bit less time. So, especially we'll see as we watch them, I guess, in shorter succession than you've usually watched these films. But I'd say that Burton sort of gives the most and really fulfills these characters into being like more than just the comic book villains, which they are on paper. Kim Basinger's really good in this. The other guy, whatever, the actual reporter, is actually really annoying. Billy D. Williams, I was disappointed we never actually got to see more of him as Dent in any of the in this. That's fine. But yeah, I really enjoy it. I could watch this, but I've watched this film countless times as a kid. It used to be on TV all the time. We used to have it on VHS. Like, this is one of those films where I don't watch it much anymore, but like growing up, I watched this film so much. You know, like it's sort of just ingrained in me to a point where I probably have blinders on to a degree, but it's really good.
Yeah, it is really good for a Batman movie made in 1989, you know? I think it adds to the charm of the film to a certain degree. Like, with obviously they needed to make their own sets and that kind of stuff and shoot it that way. So, well, that's not true. There's a good chance that Tim Burton
They could have
exactly now would still do that if he had the choice.
I was gonna say, to be honest, if you told me that the new Batman movie they were making giant sets like they did for this, I'd be like super excited. But instead, that's not what they're doing. Like they still just. Yeah.
But yeah, it's definitely a Tim Burton film. He's got his own aesthetic. Interesting reading up that apparently it did win the Oscar for Best Production Design that year, which is interesting. Yeah, obviously action wise, it's a bit fine. It's okay. I think obviously it's held back by Batman not being able to
There's
do
barely
much
any action in any of these movies.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah. And yeah, it definitely feels more like it's Jack Nicholson's movie than Michael Keaton's movie. Even, of course, to the extent where Jack Nicholson gets top billing, which apparently was a contractual thing. Like that was.
so does Arnie, I think.
Hmm.
Checking that, but I'm pretty sure Arnie does too.
Wouldn't surprise me. Yeah. Also interesting to point out that Jack Nicholson, like, he reduced his salary for the film, but in return he wanted residuals from the film and then money off the merchandise from the movie.
Bet that paid off.
Yeah, he got
Bit of
like
Mark
10
Hamill.
times more than he would normally have gotten or something, which is pretty good. But yeah, he's a good Joker, like really good. Obviously nothing like the Joker we read in the comics and that kind of stuff, but yeah, really menacing and scary and out there.
I feel like he is a cross between the show, like I can't remember the actor's name. Fuck.
Caesar something.
The first 10 results on IMDb and none of them are the fucking TV show. But I feel like the show is Cesar Romero. Fuck, why can't I
That's
remember?
right. I
feel
thought
like
it was Romero, but I wasn't confident enough to say it.
Yeah. I feel like Nicholson's Joker is like Cesar Romero Joker, but crossed over them with like, hey, I actually read The Killing Joke on set. You know, like it feels very similar, but instead of like committing to that show, which was made to be a comedy, it's like, well, let's just sort of like that's the one that influenced Nicholson because that's probably the one he'd been watching, you know, on TV. And then he was like, nah, let's just make that, but actually like sinister or like he's, you know, that's what it feels like to me. Anyway.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess continuing on, like, his makeup through this film is amazing. Just the jaw lines through the entire film, like especially when he's putting on like his like natural skin tones. It's like, how do you pull that off? I don't know. Is it like the wires pulling him up, or is it like prosthetics or something? Or
I don't know. That's what I'm saying. Is it Marlon Brando? Because in The Godfather, Marlon Brando had like a bunch of cotton buds, I think it was, pushed into both sides of his cheeks. So then he got like the things to my daughter's wedding, you know, like the that thing. Yeah.
Yeah. And then like obviously the transition to the whites in the matte, like losing the face paint or whatever, the masking his white skin and that kind of stuff is super impressive.
It's a really good bait and switch.
Like he's putting the makeup on, right?
Is he?
I can't remember.
No, he paints his skin normal, and he takes it off. Right? Have I had it wrong for my entire life?
No, like
I've always took it as his skin is white.
Yeah.
He paints on human colored, normal skin
but
color.
then, how do you do that in cinema? On set? How would you do that? You do it the other way around, where he's painting white his face to make it look like he's wiping it off. You know?
Yeah, and I guess but I always thought it was a good bait and switch because the first time watching it, if you've never seen it before, and he sits that first time he appears on TV or whatever, and he's like got the full normal skin. You're like, oh, he was just painting his face white like a crown. Like, oh, that's fine. But then after the whole bit where he comes in and shocks that crime lord boss or whatever the hell,
wow, what a scene!
Wipes stuff off. Yeah, tell me that the Dark Knight wasn't influenced by that scene.
The guy didn't even fight back. That's the thing that you would try to stop getting shocked, right? No.
You would hope so, but I guess he was in shock.
Oh. But yeah, Jack Nicholson, great, even if he kind of takes over to the movie, I think. Which is fine, because, he was super enjoyable to watch. Like, with his jokerness, It definitely felt like a variant of the Joker, but that was fitting for the character.
Would you have a favourite scene in the whole movie, or one that you remember the most? Because I can tell you straight away, if someone asks me about this movie, there's only one scene I always think of.
I mean, when I first... The one that just comes to mind all the time is him putting the glasses on and saying you wouldn't punch a guy wearing glasses. Maybe that's because I've worn glasses my entire life. It's like...
It was a fun... There are actually a lot of like very iconic one-liners in this movie.
Yeah.
We dance with the devil in pale moonlight or whatever, Like,
so random.
Yeah. But the scene I always just think of, like, if you're like, someone run up to the street, like, quick name of the scene from Batman, I'll be like, museum, prints, paintings. That's it. Like, that scene is the one
I forgot or could not appreciate as a young person watching this. The Prince provided the music for this film.
The original soundtrack.
Original songs, yeah. He's just...
Big fan, maybe. I don't know. Maybe he was a big Batman fan.
Big Batman fan. Well, he doesn't
even have that much music in it. It's like that scene's the most prominent, and then the other most prominent is the float thing at the end, festival thing. Yeah, where you actually hear the music then. Yeah.
Yeah, it's still good. Michael Keaton, like, solid. Like, Bruce Wayne doesn't really have much to do in this film. A kind of weird interpretation of Bruce Wayne, I think. Like, in every other iteration, we know that Bruce Wayne's like this mega billionaire that everybody kind of knows and is kind of like this cult figure in the city. Whereas these two reporters who who specifically works in Gotham City don't know Bruce Wayne when they see him.
I don't mind it because it's actually sort of more realistic.
Maybe it's... Admittedly, this is in, again, 1989, whereas I'm probably thinking currently...
Social media.
Where social media, you know who everybody is, pretty much, yeah.
But, like, you can imagine, it's a big city, they always talk about how there's all these other rich dudes or whatever. Like, be all end all, Bruce Wayne's just another rich dude. So, the idea that not every reporter knows who rich dude is shouldn't be that surprising.
I don't know. I think the story of the rich kid whose parents got murdered in front of a theater was probably stretched.
But do you think that would travel for years? Do you think that would travel for years now?
That's true.
It would travel for like 2 hours most. You'd read it on Twitter and go, oh, that's sad. Move on. You wouldn't remember it next year? You wouldn't care?
Yeah, I guess so. Also, it's obviously been a long time since I've seen this movie, so I was preparing at the start of the movie to start with Bruce's parents being killed. I thought that was him at the start of the movie. I'm like, this is really weird.
You got debated.
Yeah, they look like slubs. They don't
even hide it though, because like 5 seconds in, the kid, like they literally say the kid's name's like, some random name like Jimmy or something like that. Like, so if you're actually listening, so when he goes to get in the taxi, because they don't say it really
way to call
loud.
me out, Dylan.
But I mean, I understand, like, maybe because I watch everything with headphones, so maybe it's like more a thing I could pick up with headphones. But like when the kid goes to grab the taxi, or the family goes to grab the taxi, and then it goes off, and then the family go to walk away or whatever, the dad goes like, "No, come this way, Jimmy," or something like that. So they say his name nice and early.
Yeah.
You got debated. You got debated.
Yeah, sure. But yeah, Michael Keaton, solid, but like it's not his movie to a certain extent. Yeah.
I feel like it's almost purposeful.
Yeah.
To have a very almost plain Batman. Yeah, I don't mind him as Bruce, especially for the time. I feel like this is the 89 trying to write a like ladies' man, sort of philanthropist, rich dude, whatever. Like, this is sort of the direction they go with it. You know, he's got turtlenecks on and whatever else. So
Yeah.
this is the version they've got in this year compared to whenever they make other Batman movies. You know, 2005 or whatever. Compared, you know, this year we'll have to see what Robert Pattinson's young emo Batman looks like.
Yeah.
You know, so here as him in the suit though. It is literally the best they could do because of like limitations through to. Well, it's almost like technical limitations, I guess, isn't it? So
Yeah. Well,
but
I mean, it's
suit
their own
design.
fault because they were more concerned with making it as close to the comics than making it,
usable.
yeah, usable.
But I mean,
Practical,
it is also worth pointing out, and we'll get to it in a few episodes. But Batman Begins, he can't move his neck still,
Yeah, that's true.
and they make it a story point in Dark Knight. So it takes a long time before they get the suit to the point that we're kind of used to now, from Dark Knight through to Rises through to Ben Affleck one where he's a lot more nimble and stuff. But even all the way up to Batman Begins, they're still struggling
Yeah,
to get to get it moving as much.
absolutely. Yeah, the action sequences are kind of meh. I mean, the alley fight where he fights a bunch of guys,
They almost
It's
could
like
be
one
stop
of-
motion.
almost like one or two kicks here and there. They try to distract you with the martial arts guy with the swords flashing his arms around.
Indiana Jones moment.
Almost, yeah. He should have just taken him out with his batarang or something. Not enough batarang action.
Batman does kill a lot of people in this movie.
He does. I mean, that might be the biggest thing to take away. It's like he kind of kills the Joker at the end, right?
And some of his goons.
Yeah,
Chucks one straight
chuck
off
them
the side.
place buildings and
straight
stuff.
down under that bell thing and whatever else. So.
Also, are we to imply that the chemical lab's chemicals like gets drained out to the ocean? They're just dumping
Yes.
chemicals into the ocean. Yeah.
Maybe that's the meta-political commentary. I don't know. Yeah, maybe. Yeah, I mean, he does kill Joker. That's an iconic sort of death scene, though. Like, with the laughing on the ground.
Yeah.
and just laying there. The slight little
I mean,
blood
he
they
didn't
could
kill
put
him.
for the
He
rating.
fell.
It's true. It was his own fault.
If he had been a bit stronger.
Oh.
Also, say I really like who was it? I want to say Michael Gough.
Go? Alfred?
Alfred, yes.
Yeah.
He's really good as Alfred.
He's really good as Alfred.
Okay.
He's sort of my go-to. Like, I pictured this, him, or animated version, which is similar sort of age and whatever else, whatever I sort of think is my go-to Alfred, more so than Michael Caine or anything like that.
Michael Caine and Jeremy Irons, yeah.
Well, I definitely have pictured Jeremy Irons. Sorry, Jeremy Irons. Not my go-to Alfred.
Sorry. Yeah, interesting film. Like, again, like aesthetically, pretty cool. Batmobile,
Very cool. I had a toy. I think I
Cool.
still got it somewhere actually from when I was a
not
kid.
very practical.
But it's cool.
It's cool.
Cool. Yeah.
Was the shielding CGI or stop motion? Yeah,
I believe it was stop motion from memory. I think they changed it. So this movie has like no special effects in it, I think is what the story is. Or like barely any special effects of them like in-camera trickery or, you know, whatever else, stop motion stuff. So I think it's stop motion. And then I think when you get around to the next film, they are using a bit more CGI special effects. And yeah, I think that's when it's not stop motion in that. And maybe there's a couple other things that were stop motion. So
yeah. I also love, obviously, one of Joker's plots is to poison a bunch of different items that Axis chemicals? Why isn't it called Ace chemicals? It makes no sense. Is putting out, and it kills the newsreader. And then every single time we see the newsreaders after that, they're like fully no makeup, hair is frizzy. Really good storytelling. Yeah. Small detail.
some is it.
Yeah. Couple of cold sores. Terrible.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anything else you want to talk about from Batman?
Nah. Can't really think of anything. Good movie. Feel like we covered it all.
Yeah. All right. Let us know what you thought of Batman.
No after credit scene. Fucking trash.
What?
Fucking fake comic book movie. No after credit scene. Get the hell out of here. I
So
don't know why I'm
weird.
watching this shit. I only watch these movies after credit scenes. Go on.
Alright, let us know what you thought of Batman 1989 by letting us know on Twitter at explosion.com/Twitter or jump to Discord at explosion.com/Discord. If you want to help us out here at What Do You Want to Watch, leave us a review on Apple Podcasts or on Podchaser or rate us on Spotify or just tell people about the show. And if you like this episode, that was worth it all, head on over to the Gough page at explosion.com/support. Thank you very much for listening. Until next time, keep watching stuff, I guess.